I think we started this yud, yes? No. We did not. We finished h'tשכ. So h'tשכ introduced, started to explain at the end of h'tשכ that the Eden are able to mamshich the darga of explained at length that the word she'ata is, the shin is the way the chagas is absolutely skalalus, and ata is the way, ata is already the gilui, and the fusion of the two, that's because all of a machshav, they are mamshich from a level, it's higher than both, as it were, where both are equal. It's one word, she'ata, meaning that both levels are equal. And that's the pshita. So ve'intzov shelamayl megeder kavin legamri. That's the menucha shleima. And why? Because Yidden are mushish there, and that's the level of yechida atzmis, as he described at length in h'tשכ. He spoke about the two levels of makifim, the makif of levush and bias, and that even the makif of levush, some shaykhs to keiches primis, we explained, and dafke that some neshama is completely divorced, as it were, and not bound to any keiches pnimium. It's the etzem mamish. And where is it manifest? Therefore, it's manifest dafke nos tchilos and b'seifan, where the dalad amos outside the person. Likewise, l'mayla, the yesh hamiti is found where dafkin the yesh haniv, as we explained yesterday. So now continuing after yesterday's explanation, Yud, apizeh yuv and gamki masha imrim, tefillah zu b'Shabbos dafkin. I don't understand why we say this whole tefillah dafke at Shabbos, and just to add also that the end of the OC spoke about, therefore the trumas is nefesh, and even by noshim pshutim, is dafke mitzad this level. Is dafke mitzad yechida atzmis, and that's the meaning of yakdisha shmecha. As we learned in the Maamar of Shmini Atzeres, that yakdisha shmecha kodesh, that goes in atzmos, true kodesh, they yakdish, and a simple meaning that they sanctify Hashem's name through the Mesiras Nefesh, they mamshich yakdishu eshmecha in shmecha. As we learned in the Maamar of Shmini Atzeres. So now continuing, that we say dafke Shabbos, behind the fish of Shabbos, or gilui b'chinas yichida. So Shabbos is the gilui of yichida. She b'chol Yisrael b'shava, that every Yid has. Again, I am a Jew. That's the yesha, the I am a Jew is nizgala dafke in the I am of Elam Hazeh, the yesha nivra. As we learned yesterday, just between yesh ma'ayin and yesh miyesh. The yesh ma'ayin on ha'ara and yesh miyesh, the etzem is nimshach, as we explained yesterday. So therefore, shulchein shavim kol Yisrael Shmiras HaShabbos. When it comes to Shmiras Shabbos, everybody is equal. Why? Because it touches the level of Yechidah. We're going to, I don't know if you guys learned, but the Sikh and the Look at the Sikhs project last week is based on the end of this Maamar. Made the Sikh out of the end of the Maamar, which we'll share tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. From really one or two words here at the end of the Maamar. The mitzvah Shabbos chaluk mishar kol mitzvahs. Well, more than one or two words from here to the end of the Maamar. Mitzvah Shabbos is different. All other mitzvahs shevchol mitzvahs eshtem chilukim. All other mitzvahs, there are divisions in their way they are observed. Mitzvahs tefillin shkeneged alev. First of all, moreover, The mitzvah itself addresses different parts of the person of the neshama. Tefillin corresponds to the heart and the head. And therefore, since the lineage is Shibed Alev HaMoyach, obviously it's a huge, very a great discrepancy or disparate between one yid and the other. We cannot compare the head and the heart. Compared to simple Jews. Some machal at the top. And even other mitzvahs that are done through action, one's action is different than another person's action. Greater energy, greater chayis, etc. Moreover, there's even in the level of hidur, there's differences in the action level. Mashenkin Shmir Shabbos, but Shabbos is different. We're not working. It's rest and not withdrawal from action. So in the not, equal.
About all the mitzvahs, which essentially menucha is not the lach.
Yeah, that's true. Here, if you didn't hear the question, every loisa says is equal, therefore. And therefore, by the way, the loisa says are much more universal than the asay. Most of the loisa apply to everybody. Mitzvah asay is there's a whole much division there. On the other hand, it seems that it's not just not doing, but it is menucha, shvisa. And the true menucha we learned in the previous Maamar is Mitzad Etzem and Neshama. And that's everybody's mamash equal. It requires further thought, but l'chora. So let's go further. He's asking, now he's going to ask actually the other way around. The menucha is not the same, it would seem. So what are they resting from? They are resting from much loftier pursuits. Shabbos, what's the rest? The rest is the toil, the labor of elevating the sparks of the weekday. That it's all completed, incorporated, all the sparks elevated. Which is what he means, showing how that's the ascent and the absorption, the chol by Yechulu, of kol and yonim, the sheishis me'achol, of all of the activities throughout the 6 days of the week. The Shabbos bachar, we said before, beginning the Maimer, that the menucha comes after the labor, the toil of Erev Shabbos. And if the question was, why are we saying this now? It's more pronounced Erev Shabbos to speak about menucha. That's the shaylim. Kin tzadikim gedolim. Therefore, with the great tzadikim, the menucha shalem will be yonim nailim. Their rest is a much loftier kind of rest. Because their toil, their labor is a whole different order of labor. But simple folk. So based on this, Eloisa say will be more universal. You just don't do. Here's menucha from toil. That's surely each menucha is unique and not universal. Answer, as we learned, when we speak about menucha relative to the work, indeed, there's great gulf that separates the menucha of tzadikim gedolim and the simple folk. Not from work, but true in essential tranquility. It's not because I'm not working, because it's in essential state of being. So that I am a yid, yechida. So here, hashvisa occur. V'ashvis al kol shavim mamish. And the etzem menuch, everybody are all equal. Let's go further. Chaynu gam. In mitzvahs tainug the Shabbos, likewise tainug. On the one hand, the av sheitzel tzadikim g'dolim tainug the Shabbos belikus. What's the gishmak? What's the tainug belikus? It's anoshim b'shutim, and what's simple folk like us? A tainug b'nyin achilu sh'siyah, looks forward to the Friday night meal, food and drink. And that's how it should be. Mitzvah ongoing. How do we delight in Shabbos? Food and drink. Tavshil shomei, the fat cooked dish, yain mevusam, and spicy wine. According to Shulchan Aruch, Rambam, yeah. That's all in the manifested tainug. But the etzem tainug, this is equal in both, meaning the tzadikim g'dolim and anoshim shutim. Because Shabbos, the Yechidus revealed she'etza kol yisol b'shava, that every Jew possesses equally the I am a Yid. And that's why on Shabbos, we have the din that a person's daled amos is an extension of it. That's the origin. If you shalom the Chazal, it's not actually derived from there, but it's hinted there. In Masha Kosov, in Pasha B'Shalach there, about not going out to collect the man on Shabbos, the pasuk says, "Ish tachtov," each person should dwell in his place. Al Yetze ish mim koimai. So Rashi brings the Chazal learns from the tachtov under him that each person has daled amas. What are the daled amas? The 3 amas are his height, basically, and then a 4th amas is the stretching of the hands and the feet. So here we learn that a person goes outside the tchum on Shabbos, he has daled amas, because the daled amas is an extension of it. Go 2,000 amas, and from there he has daled amas. As we learned 2 days ago in Hilchos Eiduvin, that if the tchum falls within the city, remember, if he puts the smaller city, or it's all relative, but he puts the tchum Shabbos, the food that he's making, his shavas, koine shvisa. If he puts it, let's say 1,000 amas from the city, so he can walk from there 2,000 amas, the place of the Eruv, 2,000 amas in all directions. If the city is within the 2,000 amas, the city becomes daled amas, so he can walk another 2,000 minus daled amas. The whole city becomes daled amas. The point being that daled amas is chutz of the person. It's outside his house even. So it's more even than the makif harochek. His place is in the daled amas. As we explained, this was 2 shurim ago, that in Shabbos, since Yechid is revealed, Shashra also that Yechid, the etzem, is bedalad amos shel adam kana. It's not in his levush, not even his bias, but in the dalad amos outside his house, from where he acquires an object, even shalem b'daita. So we explained that Chacham Masakin that to avoid quarreling, and here's an example of how al pichsidis, a rather strange halacha, that he acquires an object with his dalad amas with even less stringency than his chotzer. It's all based on kinyan chotzer, as we explained. And that's because it's the yichidus revealed there, and it's higher than das and askomba and mechitzas, etc. So concluding this, therefore we say Tfilas ata echad b'Shabbos dafke. That's why we say dafka on Shabbos, because it culminates where? In מנוחה שלמה שעת הרצה בה. כי מצד גילה היחידה, פשיטס הנשמה, נמשך פשיטס העצם של המייל. Therefore, Yid is able, Yakidu v'yedu, down here. כי מאיתך היא מנחוסם, גם מנחוסם יקדישו שמכם, Yid is מייסה נפש, here למטה נעלם הזה, so that is מצד יחידה, and that's revealed דווקא on Shabbos. Because יחידה is מנוחה בעצם.
But this doesn't, or does this explain why we say dafka b'mincha?
Yeah, because the first levels, it's certainly Friday night, it's still the menucha is based on not working. And now work is beyond Avedas HaBerurim, as we learned in the previous Maimari. It's beyond the measure of Avedas HaBerurim. Friday night is the birur of Eichel Matech Pselis, Shabbos day is Eichel Matech Eichel, and Shalashudus is hiding Avedas HaBerurim altogether, as we learned, therefore there's no, we don't eat, so this is the menucha be'etzem. So Inyan HaMenucha Shleima Shat HaReitzah B'Kanal Baruch, as we explained at length before. Now the shayla is why Dafke Yaakov? Why Dafke Yaakov? Avraham also kept Shabbos. Remember the shayla was the three shaylas. Which I've answered already. Some. Other Rabbi Shabbos is connected with his man. So why? Let's go back to the very beginning. The shayla was that Yaakov gets the bracha faratzta, which is boundless, because by him we find dafke b'derech prat shmir Shabbos, that Erev Shabbos, also it's a tchum issue. He camped up opposite Shechem. He set up pitch camp there because he was sun had set, and he didn't want to travel couldn't travel further. So it's a tchum issue. The whole Daladam is Inyan there, as he goes on to say at the end here. But the shayla is, if it's Tam Shabbos, so it's everybody, Avraham Yitzchak also kept Shabbos. So somehow it's derech prat. What does it mean, derech prat? Only by Shabbos is it identified, only by Yaakov is it identified, and then the bigger question, the general question, that he gets a bracha which is boundless, but Shabbos is bound to time. If Shabbos comes dafka after 6 days, you hinted to the halacha that the person is lost. It's 2 days, whether you count Shabbos and then 6 days or 6 days in Shabbos, but either way, it's bound to time. So the answer to all of this is that that's the external level of Shabbos, but the premise of Shabbos, which is Dafkin, is Gal at Mincha, is Yechida. But still to be answered is, which we did already, why associated with Yaakov? Because as he goes on to say now, let's see in the Maimar itself. Zeo, Shomer Chazal, Yaakov shekosa by Shmir Shabbos v'yichan neged ha'ir. Yorash ha'oretz ha'olam shaloi b'midah. His bracha was boundless because by him we find specifically, not just as part of the general avodah, but specifically Shabbos and Dafka having to do with Tchumim. That's why he gets what? The bracha which is boundless. And then why Zra'ach kafar oretz, faratzta, etc. Ki Ufaratzto nachle bli mitzorim. Ufaratzto is an inheritance that is boundless. Whereas the Avraham Yitzchak got a measured brach. He Dafke Yaakov zamshachas apshitos ein sof, as we're talking about in the third level. She'ata shalamaylim begeder kavim lagam, completely beyond the gather of kavim. Vinyan zeh nimshach ad Shmir Shabbos dafka. This is dafka drawn down through Shabbos. Actually, because Shabbos is menucha be'etzem yechida, which all Jews are equal. Pshitas on the shama. So if all Jews have it, why dafka Yaakov? He's megaladin. Shal yoda nimshach pshitas ein sof. It's through the pshitas of the Yid, and from there comes Mesilas Nefesh Yakdishu Shmecha. They are mamshich the pshitas ein sof. Now why dafka Yaakov? The Yaakov Dafka, and this is revealed Dafka through Shmir Shabbos of Yaakov. Avram kept all of my laws, etc. Even mitzvahs derabanan. He certainly was Makayim Shabbos. However, Shmira Shabbos Avram nichlachla, his Shabbos observance was part of Bechlal Shmiras Kol HaMitzvahs. And what does that mean? Shekima mitzvah sheloi hoye basogo bekavonas ha-mitzvahs. So all Avodah was understanding. All Avram was coming to realize as a creator, etc. And kavon of the mitzvahs. So as part of Havon of Asoga, which is not drawing on the Yechida, it's lower levels of Shmira. It's Tzadikim Gdoilim, their Shmira, from their Avodah, etc. It's not mamish the Yechida level. Why? Because it's part and parcel of his general Avodah, which is Havon of Asoga. Therefore, you don't find it's present in essence, but not manifestly, transparently, this nekuda atzmis of Yechidah. But Yaakov actually identifies, he observed Shabbos, he encamped, set up camp before the sunset, Erev Shabbos, facing Shechem. So not only, so obviously it means, the fact that the Torah identifies Shabbos uniquely means the deeper level in Shabbos, the Menucha Be'etzem. Moreover, already we have our answer, because the fact that Torah singles it out means it's not part of the general Avodah, as you said before, that film, etc., which their basic Avodah is. Their mandate is Seichel, Midas. So Shabbos is also part of Havon Vasoga in other dimensions. In Pashtos, the day of rest is a very logical thing. Even Pari understood that and gave the Yidden the day of rest in Mitzrayim. Because he didn't have a day of rest, it'll be like a pressure cook and a rebellion. So there was one day where they had off. It's like a Shabbos. But by Yaakov, however, it's the Menucha Be'etzem, like the third level, the third mincha, Shmira Shabbos, which by the corresponds to Uli Yishleim, if it says that. So there's 3 meals, it's Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Here that Gosh is Dafke Mincha, the Menucha Be'etzem. Not Avodah Siberurim, not even Eichel Matech Eichel, but essential Menucha. It would make sense. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So what do we find? Not only where are you? Yeah. But Shmira Shabbos Guf and Shmira Shabbos itself, not just mentioning Shabbos in general. What's the context? It's in the also the Loisaseh. He didn't travel. And that the Loisaseh is B'chol Yisol B'Shov, everybody equally. Well, so that's like you said, that's true of all Loisaseh. But now we're going to get even to what's unique here. In general, Taka, all Loisaseh draw on a much deeper level, as we learn in Tanya. And especially since Parashat Ninat Tchumen, by Yaakov was the union of Tchumen, he stopped traveling because he'd reached. Because Shem was outside the Tchum. That's why he didn't go there. The whole unit of Tchum is the whole unit of Daled Ames. That's where Yechid is manifest. In other words, integral to the law of Tchumim is the Daled Ames. That at the end of the Tchum, you have your Daled Ames. It's all part of that halacha. And all hinted to, in fact, we learn Daled Ames from the laws of Tchumim, which is in Parshas B'Shalach, from where it's all derived. The whole measure of 2,000 Amos is all derived from there, etc. Machlekes is that I said the Rabbanon, but it's certainly derived. The laws of Tchumim Shabbos are all derived from Al Yetzi Ishmim Koimai that it says by Shabbos. So now we have the answer at the end. That your children be kafar oretz. What's first of all kafar oretz the offering? You're not bittul. Offer is bittul. Shamayim is halkos. Higher than is halkos, which is seichel and midas, etc. Inheritance that is without borders. And the Ibishter tells him, and in you all the nations of the world will be blessed through you and your children. What is that? Showing in Birani Tutis. Birani Tutis were holding higher than the whole Birani Tutis. So they say over here, footnote 55. Let's see what it says. But in the writing down the Maimer, so they missed a little bit here in the Hemshech Advarim. The editors, the publishers, I should say, suggest perhaps the intent here is the Mittler Rebbe who writes, Shekol Ish Yisraeli ha'over be'eretz amim mizbar al yedei zeh. Behind all, he says, or maybe there's a come after Be'eretz. Shekol Ish Yisrael ha'over be'eretz amim. So just going there, I'm just going to translate the words, a yid that travels through the Eretz Amim, so becomes elevated by his very presence. So it's not Meirich, but L'chayr over here, this is to so this is a kind of birur that's not a birur through engagement of any kind, just by his presence, they are elevated. And there's an order from the Rebbe there on the Mittler Rebbe's Maimer, something from the Baal Shem Tov, and I have to see what that is. They're just being causes their elevation. This is the Menucha Be'etzem, which we learned about. It's not through engagement, it's just your very presence attracts without even a conscious awareness of your environment. The Yesh HaNivra is drawn where the Yesh HaMiti is revealed. That's where it surrenders. The Yesh HaNivra surrenders when it confronts the Yesh HaMiti. So through this we merit Mashiach, was described as the one who bursts, will ascend before us. Paraphrasing a pasuk in Micha, Damal Mashiach, referring to Mashiach, B'korev Mamish. Okay, so tomorrow we will give an overview of the Maimah, we'll review it, and we'll also share, not tomorrow, the day after, the Sicha in Chilik Tisvav, which is based on the end of this Maimah.